Now I'm very happy to introduce to you Vesa Koivisto. Again, I'm sorry for my bad pronunciation. He is the Senior Vice President of the battery operations of the Finnish Minerals Group. And he will now introduce to us, so we stay with Finland and Finland introducing itself, how to approach this topic on the integrated electrical vehicle battery value chain in Finland. So we are looking forward to your presentation.
Much, and a good afternoon to you all as well. I had a quick chat with my fellow countrymate Markku before he came on the stage. He asked me if he can make everybody stand up. I said, no, don't do that. After almost 2 years of Zoom, Teams, meetings, etc., you're bound to find somebody who forgot the trousers. You know, didn't. So that's good. So with that note, so yes, my name is Vesa Koivisto, and you pronounced it perfectly. So I'm heading the battery operations at Finnish Minerals Group. And with just a kind of a very, very quick intro to Finnish Minerals Group, because this certainly is not a very widely known company. We're a quite young company, fully owned by the state of Finland. And really the mission for us is to maximize these unique minerals that we have in Finland and kind of build on that a battery value chain on the backdrop of that. So that's basically where we are coming from. And looking at the battery value chain, what we mean by that, I'm sure you have seen tons of various illustrations of what the battery value chain looks like. This is our kind of interpretation of it. And kind of starting from what we call upstream, so the mining part, the chemicals part, we have a quite strong footprint there. So we are the manager or the holder of the state assets in mining companies. There are two mentioned here. And then on top of that, kind of moving forward with the value chain, as those happen to be the cathode materials. So we're kind of trying to continue the value chain towards the cathode stream, so the precursors, active materials, to the cells. We already have modules and pack operations in Finland, so that's a little bit out of our scope. And then we come to the end applications, such as automotive, so we have companies in that space in Finland as well. And then finally coming back kind of after the second lives to the recycling side. This is again something that we are very, very interested in and kind of looking at. And Markku already kind of mentioned that what is the strategy? How do we do this? So we kind of decided not to try to reinvent the wheel, but what we are looking for is to co-invest with companies who are already in this business, kind of introducing these production facilities to Europe and specifically to Finland. So that's in a kind of a nutshell where we're coming from. Looking a little bit on the assets that we have, we are the majority holder of a company called Terrafame, which is the largest nickel producer in Europe. So they have about 30,000 ton annual nickel capacity, producing it as we speak. And actually, as we speak, they are ramping up and producing nickel sulfate. So it's all integrated play in the mine site. So from the mine all the way to nickel sulfate, cobalt sulfate is basically what they do. We are the largest shareholder in Keliber, which is a lithium project. And again, it's one of the leading integrated projects, lithium projects in Europe. And finally, we are a full owner of a project called Sokli, which is a phosphate and iron, and it has some rare earths as well. So we're currently evaluating how to move forward with that. We took hold of that asset late last year, so it's still kind of in that phase that we're looking at. A key theme for what we're doing is sustainability. Mitigating the carbon footprint and kind of trying to reduce that. And Terrafame here is a great example of that. I already mentioned that this is an integrated play from the mine all the way to nickel sulfate. And this is an illustration of the carbon footprint for that process where Terrafame leads the pack. So they have the lowest carbon footprint on that full value chain. A big part of the reason why that is Terrafame's unique technology through which they are producing the nickel out of the ore. It's called bioleaching. It's as a technology, it's nothing new, but I think this is pretty much the only application for nickel side where it's been successfully used. So this is kind of putting things into a kind of a good perspective. The other project that we're now running is Keliber. I'm not going to go there much more because the gentleman following me is going to present Keliber more in detail. So just to kind of let you know. Markku already kind of briefed out a little bit on this value chain development and what is happening in Finland today. And we have a very, very strong platform kind of developing this industry throughout these different value chain steps. And we are by no means alone in the country. If we start from the upstream part, and particularly when we come to the refining part, Finland is very, very strongly represented. So through Terrafame on the nickel side, but also others such as Nornickel in Harjavalta, which is a major refinery, just announced a extensive expansion to their refining capacity. On cobalt refining, we have Umicore holding the asset in Kokkola with a cobalt refinery, which is the largest refinery outside of China, probably on top 3, top 4, even global scale, including those Chinese sites. Moving forward with the value chain, BASF has chosen Finland as their location for their first precursor plant, so it's being constructed as we speak. Umicore does have some precursor production in this Kokkola asset as well, so there are kind of already these activities going on. Then kind of moving into, there was a discussion about the OEMs and car companies. It is very true that we don't have kind of the OEMs having their own operations in Finland, but Valmet Automotive happens to be the largest supplier to Daimler Group outside of kind of Daimler's setting. So they are producing a significant amount of vehicles in Uusikaupunki, and Valmet Automotive has now invested quite significantly on battery modules and pack production. So there is this part is well represented, and obviously we hope that this will grow moving forward. And then kind of closing the loop, I have added here Fortum's logo here. Fortum is investing heavily on recycling side. They have the full mechanical as well as the hydrometallurgical side, so basically capabilities of recycling the full value chain on the recycling side. So from the kind of modules and packs, disassembling those, having the mechanical side, and then transferring into the respective sulfates that hopefully can be then fed in back to the precursor production. So this is kind of the landscape where we are operating as we speak. And as I said, as FMG, our target is to attract more co-invest in other projects. And currently we are participating in 4 different investment projects in this space. There is in the southeastern part of Finland, in Hamina and Kotka, there are two projects. In Hamina, we are collaborating together with a leading precursor company, CNGR, to build a precursor facility there. And then just 15 kilometers from that site, we are collaborating with a cathode player yet to be unnamed or undisclosed, and we do hope that it will be disclosed very, very shortly. So these are kind of moving parallel, and it's going to be kind of hopefully a very compact combination of precursors and cathode. And now we're talking about high nickel NMC type of cathode projects that are going to be produced there. Then we have another hub, if you like, in Vesa, where we are collaborating with Johnson Matthey, who is also present here today, for a cathode, integrated cathode, precursor cathode play, to kind of further solidify the cathode part in Finland. And then finally, the last one is with a cell company, Freyr. We're collaborating with them to kind of integrate the cell operations here as well, which would then kind of conclude from the mine all the way to the cells in Finland. So that in a nutshell about FMG. So thank you for your attention.
Perfect timing, nothing to add here. Are there any questions or comments from the audience? Then
just one question. Finnish Minerals Group, who is the stakeholder of Finnish? Is this the state or is this
We're 100% owned by the state of Finland. We are a development and holding company, so we are not an operative company, but our purpose is to co-invest as a minority stakeholder into these projects. So we're that's our strategy. Yes.
Okay. And I realize now Chinese companies like Svolt or others are interested heavily in Finland.
Well, I know Vesa quite well. Yes. Okay. And there was a Chinese name as well. I mean, we do have to say that CNGR is a leading precursor company even on a global scale, with whom we are participating for the precursor side there.
And what are your prospects with a higher CO2 pricing? Because I read now only in the US this year it was 100 billion of costs just by climate change. So if we now look into the true CO2 price, what we had also in the BLB talk, so the CO2 footprint of every cell produced somewhere, how do you fit in here? Because I can imagine CO2 pricing will raise massively over the next years because we have to, there's no way out. And you're doing it with clean water, CO2 neutral, maybe you can briefly comment on that.
Yeah, first off, like Marko said a little bit earlier, Finland has abundance of renewable electricity available. So this is kind of one of the key platforms. Secondly, we are now trying to build a full supply chain geographically in a very, very compact area, kind of a little bit eliminating these global transportations of various components and parts. And we're very confident that through this combination, we are actually able to be in the lead from the sustainability and CO2 perspective for these products.
Okay, then there's a question, Mr. Wollenhaupt. The micro is coming over there, but you can speak up loud. So,
Vesa, thank you for the nice presentation, and you know that I'm convinced that Finland is a place to be within our European community. Nevertheless, I think you have a discrepancy, let me say, in your presentation, talking about sustainability, wind energy growing, I think, like nobody else. But on the other side, you are also investing heavily in nuclear power. For the automotive industry, at least from a German perspective, nuclear power is not considered sustainable, it's not green, it's not accepted. How do you bring these two approaches together?
I mean, it is very true that we have legacy nuclear and we have nuclear projects that has been under construction for a decade or so. So this is something that is being developed there. Not that kind of we have much to do with that, but at the same time, the kind of elimination of the CO2 from the kind of energy mix is a key importance, and I think even nuclear is seeing some revival as well. My presentation is not technical, but when I was looking at this technical presentation before, it just struck me that the lowest the best sustainability on the example countries given in the previous chart happened to be France. And we know that why that is. So and of course, I mean, we certainly recognize that for the OEMs and for the industry in general, renewables are really a key, and not whatever renewable, but it needs to be also kind of an additional renewable, and thus this kind of to build new renewable is we have seen as an advantage that we can kind of have.
Okay, then I see no more hands. Thanks a lot, Vesa.
Thank you.